Hope you can hear. Hey, Stoners. Welcome to another edition of Sticks-n-Stones. I guess third time was a charm because I launched live 2 other times and there was something wrong each time. First time, I got the music going, I got you going, and I didn't get the record button pushed on audio. So I stopped, ended the live stream, started again. I did something else wrong the next time. Oh, I didn't hit, I think I didn't hit record again. So anyway, third time, I think I managed to get it right. And I hope you could hear the music because I think I figured out how to get the audio from here to be there so you could hear my, oh no, I got some other stuff in here. What have I got? Yeah, that is exactly how I felt. Yeah. So, but anyway, you know, I hope you are having a wonderful day. I am your host, Brent Elrod, coming to you from the cozy confines here at the patio at the No Shoes Bar and Grill, deep in the heart of the Republic of Texas. Yeah, it's fall in Texas. I think it was 95 today. So, but I think right now, if you go out to Amarillo, it's like 50. So you can experience all 4 seasons in Texas if you just hit it just right. So anyway, you're not here for that. I have what I think and hope is going to be a great matchup today. This is a scotch that I am going bare naked on, kind of. I've really not heard anything about it, but I was putting an order together for Total Wine, and I saw it and I liked the price point. And it's 12-year-old, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. Well, apparently, doing some research on it, it's been around here in the States about at least 10 or 12 years. And they actually go back farther than that. But we'll get to that story in just a second. Anyway, I am pairing today uh, Isle of Skye 12-year-old blended Scotch whiskey, and I am pairing that with a Paradomo 10th anniversary. And this is a little outside my normal here. I have to back up so you can see all of this. This is a Churchill. I don't normally smoke Churchills. About 6 to 6.25 length is about all I go. This one is 7. So it's a little more, a little more stick than I'm used to. That's what she said. So but I do think it's going to be a really great matchup. I've done the Paradomo a few times, and man, they make some of the best cigars out there. I really love them. I did a kind of a series here a while back where I did the 10th and the 20th, and I think they had there's like 3 or 4 of them. And so I tried them all. So I think this is going to be a great matchup. And right after this, we're going to pop the cork, cut the stick, and get to toasting. Now, Isle of Skye is owned, or was originally it's owned by the Ian McLeod Distilleries. Ian is no longer with us. It is thought to have originated from Ian McLeod in the 1930s. Now, being a McLeod, he was from the McLeod clan. So even though he was born in the Inverness region of Scotland, which is over, and they call it something, it's kind of like a county, but whatever they call it, is over by Glasgow. So it's on the eastern side of the country. But the Clan MacLeod goes back like 800 years on the Isle of Skye, which is on the western side of Scotland. So it is believed that that's where he derived this name. It's kind of a tip a hat to his ancestry there. So let's go ahead. I got some more to tell you about it. It's 12 years aged, as I said, and also Ian McLeod Distillers. It is 43% alcohol by volume, which makes it 86 proof, which I believe is a little lower than most. I want to say most scotches, somewhere around 90, but I could be completely wrong about that. And I didn't look at it before I came out here. Anyway, and it has. Let's go ahead and get some. Now, see, this is one thing. No quality liquor should have a screw top, and I don't care who it comes from. It can be the most expensive brand out there, but if you didn't pony up the extra money to put corks in them, you missed it. Yeah, visually, this is just it's a beautiful kind of copper color, got those reddish hues to it. But also, I'll hold the bottle up here again. It does look even deeper in the bottle, and the bottle is not, it's clear glass. So there's no smoke to it, but it does look even really like deep amber color in the glass or in the bottle, but on the nose. I tell you, I really like the nose on it. It's already doing me pretty good. If I just have to just keep smelling it, you know. I get stone fruits like plums and maybe prunes, apricots, stuff like that. There's some vanilla, toffee kind of creaminess to it. Uh, there is a touch of peat in there, but it's not overbearing or anything like that. It's just a very mild aroma of peat. And you know, I'm not a real smoky, peaty kind of guy. And it's also got some lighter notes of like malt and grains, a little bit of cocoa. It's kind of rounded out then with just a really light kind of cinnamon aroma. Hmm. All right, on the palate. That's that's actually it's pretty good scotch. I mean, it's not, you know, Macallan 12 year, or it actually does taste quite a bit like it kind of reminds me of Johnny Walker. Uh, it's got a little bit more, I don't know, somewhere around the 15 year. Maybe the black. I think the black has probably got a little more smoke to it, but uh, but definitely not the double black. So, and I haven't had Johnny Red in so long, I couldn't even tell you. But I get some notes of butterscotch and sherry. There's some dried fruit in there. Like I said, there's a little bit of smoke and a little bit of peat, but it's not a lot. I mean, this probably would be if somebody's wanting to, for the first time, delve into uh, scotches. This would be a great price point to entry at. And you're getting a 12-year-old scotch, even though it is blended. I know, and in the single malts, they're in, they're in a separate category. But I also pick up some like roasted nuts, a little bit of oak, and then there's some more cinnamon and vanilla, and there's just a hint of like clove, I think, in there. It does have a really excellent mouthfeel to it. It's not really like oily and heavy, but it's also not thin. It coats your tongue just enough for it to hang around there. It's got a really good medium finish to it. Uh, and right as the finish is kind of fading away, you'll get just a little bit of spicy burn on the tip of your tongue. But other than that, it really doesn't have any like ethanol burn to it. Uh, but on the finish, I get like vanilla and cardamom, and then a little bit more of the smoke and peat, indicative of the islands. Uh, and this is like I said, this is a blended whiskey, and what they blended this with was, it is a mixture of Speyside scotches, which is basically no smoke, no peat. And they blended that with some of the island scotches, which is rumored to include Talisker, which I've reviewed Talisker before, the 10-year-old. And it doesn't specify which Talisker, just that there might be some Talisker in it. So maybe that's a marketing ploy, I don't know. But I would say not. You know, anyway. That just really is a great sipping scotch. It's fairly complex to be like a $30 price point 12-year-old. Yeah, I mean, I I wouldn't be ashamed to serve this. All right, that's one band. Okay, now on to the Perdomo Reserve Champagne. This is their 10th anniversary. Rocky Patel does this too, where he has particular, like the Rocky Patel 60, which I am so in love with. And it's the word 60, not the number. That was commemorating his 60th birthday. So he does a lot of that. Well, Perdomo has done the same thing with their anniversaries. They've got the 10, the 20. There may even be somewhere up near a 30. I can't remember right offhand. But anyway, so this is a Churchill, as I said earlier. It is, now unlike most Churchills are like 7 by 48. That's really what kind of Winston went with. And that's how I got his name, Churchill, 7 by 48. But they went a little thicker and went for a 7 by 54. So this is a pretty hefty cigar, and it feels like really good in my hands. It's got a decent weight to it. It's not too hard. It's not too soft. I don't feel any like hard spots in it. I think it's going to burn good. Anyway, what is in it? This is filler and binder that is Nicaraguan, and it is wrapped in a Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, which is very beautiful. It has a wonderful triple cap, and it's considered a mild to medium strength cigar. Go ahead and give her a cut here. V cut. It's my favorite cut. I will use other cuts depending on the cigar. Like if you get a torpedo with a pointed end, I mean you can V cut it, but it's just much easier to just snip the cap with a guillotine. And but most of the cigars I smoke have a rounded heel on. So anyway, where are we at? Oh, caught a get a little like stables, barnyard kind of aroma. Just, I mean, like really right off the bat. Now, visually, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Visually, this is a very beautiful light tan. Those of you on the audio, I'm sorry you're not watching on the live stream. You should be, although I'm not really good about announcing it. I do ADD a lot. So, and I didn't tell this story before we move on to the rest of the visual. I had just got everything like pretty much set up, and I've got cameras. I'm veteran of Iraq, and I've got cameras all around the place. And my camera dinged that Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez was pulling into the driveway. So I'm like, okay, she went to the grocery store. I need to go see if I need to help her. I ran out there, and her garage door wouldn't come up. It had pulled out of the door the little bracket that holds it so that the door can come up. And so I had to then round up some screws and some bolts. I had to put it all back together. And so I would have been here like a half hour ago. But anyway, visually, as we said, beautiful, light tan. Now, this particular stick, it has very tight seams, but they are pronounced. I can see them really well. Now it has very minimal veining, but the few veins that it does have are fairly pronounced. And I just found a defect right there. That's not good, but we'll make the best of it. So now on the nose, as I said just a minute ago, I get like some notes of barnyard and or stables, hay, that kind of stuff. There's also everything else that I get is more along the lines of sweet, like some vanilla and a little honey, some graham crackers, and then there's just this really nice natural tobacco sweetness to it. Now, I've already cut it, so cold draw. I get a hint of like molasses, like a deeper sweetness, and then but I also do get a little like caramel, a little lighter sweetness, and then kind of a touch of earthiness. And then there's another note in there that is just really hard to pick out. And I think it's along the lines of kind of a raisiny taste. Yeah, I'll go with that. All right. Now let's light her up. Very happy to have a Rocky Patel envoy again. I can't believe I lost my other one. Not exactly sure what happened. It should not have left the house, so it should still be here. Just as good as I remembered. I think the ones that I've reviewed earlier were, I think they call them Epicure. It's more like a sort of a Robusto, maybe a 5.5 by 54, something like that. But this one was a gift. This came to me from my buddy Roy in the Air Force. He retired a little bit before I did, but not much. We were deployed together in Iraq and Pakistan. He wasn't in Pakistan, but you know. Just as good as I remember. On the light, I get kind of a caramelized sugar. There's some kind of creamy floral notes. There's a little bit of black pepper in there. Not a lot of spice though. There's not really any like real spicy spice. There's just a touch of black pepper, and I do get some almonds. And then just a hint of baking spice. It's more like cinnamon, nutmeg, that kind of thing. Puts off a really nice volume of smoke. Let's go ahead and try these together. Wow. My initial impressions are that the stick has made the sky a little bit sweeter, a little more fruitier. Yeah, I won't say a lot, but there was a significant amount of more fruity flavor on the palate than when I was just sipping the scotch by itself. That These do go pretty well together. I know I was reaching because when you're talking about a $30 scotch that you never tried before, that's a reach. Uh, but yeah, I think they're going together pretty well. Oh, my microphone ain't coming down again. Trying to wrap it, keep it from doing that because they keep sliding down. I keep pushing it up. I always kind of shied away from the Connecticut cigars, the lighter wrappers. But since I have been kind of, instead of do this, I have to basically review a whole wide range of stuff because everybody's, their their palates are different. You want to appeal to everybody. There are some really great cigars in the Connecticut, the light shaded wrappers. And this is, I think I probably said this when I reviewed the 10th anniversary before, that this would be a really, really good entry level cigar for somebody, but not the Churchill. Get one shorter. Start, work your way up. Yeah, I think there are enough sweet notes on the stick that what little smoke and peat is in the scotch, it kind of lowers its level a little bit and kind of that allows the kind of the fruitier and the sweeter notes to come forward just a little bit. Um, I think this is going really well, and I am excited to get to the halfway mark. So, those of you that are on the audio are going to go on pause, and those of you on live stream, you're going to get to stay with me. I will be back at the halfway mark to give you an update. Now, if I can just remember to get it turned back on again, because last time I did this, I accidentally hit the wrong button and it stopped the recording and put it onto the memory card. And so I had to hit record again and record the rest of that episode and then put the two together. Yeah, rookie. This is really, uh, I can't say enough about Perdomos there. I kind of shied away from them when I first started smoking cigars. I don't know why. Uh, but as I have expanded my palate, as I talked about just a minute ago, uh, found out that, yeah, they do make some really good sticks. It's a great afternoon. I don't have football on. It's just, I don't have a lot of luck with electronics. That's why I've struggled so mightily with this whole thing here. Uh, but yeah, it's like trying to watch a football game here is like pulling teeth uh, with tweezers. It's just used to. You just flip on whether it was Fox or CBS or NBC or whoever, and you watch a football game. But now that they've done away with all that, and now you have to have a special $100 antenna just to get the local stations, and then you have to have uh, a streaming service, and then you have to pay more if it's live service as opposed to watching all the reruns. And, and then like ESPN Plus. I'm like, okay, I can get ESPN Plus. I'll be able to watch the football games. Uh, not quite. You got to have a Disney Plus sign in. Well, Disney Plus is a subscription. So you have to have a subscription to get a subscription to watch a football game. And, I love to just sit in front of the TV on Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, watch ball games. I'm lucky if I can get one. So I got my Aggies yesterday. I saw them win. It wasn't a beautiful win, but it was a win. It was a team they should have blown out, but they nearly lost. But they didn't, and that doesn't nearly lost doesn't go on the score sheet. And they did move up one spot in the rankings. They went from 25 to 24. So they went from the bottom of the rankings to the next to the bottom from the rankings. And I think they started us at like number 13 preseason. And I was like, well, number one, I wish they hadn't put us at 13, put us at 12 or 14, but don't put us at 13. And then I was also like, y'all are reaching way high if you think it's going to be a number 13 team in the country at the beginning of the year. New coach, a lot of new players. And then their very first game, which was it was definitely a hard game. It was Notre Dame. And I think they were like the number 5 team in the country at the time. And yeah, they lost that one. And then they've won the rest of them now so far. We'll see how it goes because they're going to be getting into SEC play, and that's always tough. As these folks from UT with their Longhorns are going to find out, it's a whole different ball game when you're playing SEC teams every single week. It doesn't matter what their wins and losses are. Any SEC team at any given time of the week can beat you. All the good players won't play in the SEC. They just do. Now that Nick Saban's gone, that may not hold up. But for right now, yeah. It started with a little wave to it, but it has pretty much straightened itself on out. I think it was probably my lighting. You'd think I'd get better after all these years, but that's just a really, really good cigar. I have to admit it. Just got a text, my youngest, saying she just fed the dogs. Yeah, don't come out here in the middle of daddy's smoke. I don't care. Thought about live streaming some of our pool days in the summertime. I didn't do it this year, but we didn't have a lot of people over this year. I don't really know why. But there have been times in the summer where we'll have 15, 20 people out here. The No Shoes Bar and Grill gets to hopping. I think I'm going to have to scan through all of the different Paradomos now because I'm going to have to find some, because I know they have some that I haven't reviewed, and I'm going to have to get some of those. Because I want to try these out a little more. I will tell you this. All right, this is a 7-inch cigar. I don't know if I can live stream 7 inches of cigar. That's what she said. That's what Monica said. But hope y'all caught that. Because it's not a super quick burner, which is good. You get to enjoy it, but And I am really impressed with the amount of smoke that this stick puts off. It's not a smoke monster. It won't just cloud you over, but I mean, it's a really great volume of smoke, and it's got a really good mouthfeel to it. Hmm. Live TV or live. Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez called me, so I'm texting her on my iPad. She's probably gonna pick up something for dinner. It's like, what do you want? Or she'd be like, "What would you like for dinner, babe?" That's her. Yeah, we've been together 9 years, and we ain't argued yet. Hear my doorbell going off. I was like, "What's up?" And she said, "Never mind. The garage door works." Yeah, I fixed it. Put a little smiley face on there. I fixed it. One of the very few things that I can fix. Uh, but my fixing is not. I'm not a really good fixer. Uh, I have an undergraduate degree in accounting and my doctorate in law and a graduate degree in emergency management and homeland security. And none of that requires any kind of, you need to be able to use a hammer and nails or a wrench and fix this. Yeah, I'm not a fixer like that. Like, I'm a fixer in that I uh, I bought Pfizer stock when you thought it was relatively high at like $75 a share, and they pay a really nice dividend every quarter. Uh, but they closed Friday at about $950 a share. Yeah, and they've been up over 1,000. I worry about what's coming though. If we get the wrong person in the White House, just not going to go good. And I know, like, one side, one of the candidates has a very large, um, uh, well, very large. We don't know exactly what the policy is, but they have dribbled out a few things like they they're going to raise uh, the corporate tax to like 39%. They're going to institute uh, a capital gains tax on I can't remember the word now. I've been smoking and drinking, but anyway, it would be like this: you bought a house for $200,000, and today it's worth $500,000, unrealized capital gains. That's it. And you would need to pay tax on the 300,000, even though you haven't sold the house. Now, they say that that's only for those that make more than, I don't know, like $1 million a year or whatever. Uh, but they didn't hire those 67,000 IRS agents to go looking at just the 400 billionaires we have in the country. They're coming for you. Don't think they're not. Yeah, it's like if you took I don't remember exactly how many, it's 400 and something billionaires in the US. If you took, and if the government confiscated all of their wealth, all of it, everything, left them with nothing, maybe a pot to piss in, that money would operate the government for about 8 months. So what's going to happen when they run out of money? The billionaires. Well, then they're going to move down to the next level and the next level. Margaret Thatcher said one time that the real problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. Yeah, it's just, you know, if you have lower taxes, people spend more. Businesses invest more. That means investing in employees and buildings and manufacturing equipment so that they can expand. But if they're going to have to be taxed 40% of what they make, they're not going to expand. What they're going to do is they're going to do like they did in the past. And it killed Detroit. They're going to shut down their plants in the US and they'll move that crap offshore where they can pay those people 50 cents an hour and then the jobs don't come back. And as the current president says, oh, we can teach you how to be a coder. You can go back to school. Yeah, okay. But I really get the sense, if you remember, think hard, you'll remember back when, before Obamacare got passed, Nancy Pelosi was giving a speech one day, and she was talking about how they need to pass this legislation. And it's going to be the greatest thing and all this kind of stuff. And they were acting like she was being asked, she's like, what kind of specifics are in this bill? We don't really know. And she said, well, we're going to have to pass the bill so you can find out what's in it. Do what? Ain't nobody read it? That's kind of the way one candidate's doing right now. That's why you never see that person giving very many interviews. And if they do, it's scripted. She was with the head poobah female entertainer in a room full of people doing what was supposed to be an interview. But then you see shots from other angles and you find out that she has a teleprompter. If it's your policies, why do you need a teleprompter? And if you're being asked questions and you're having to speak extemporaneously, how can you have a teleprompter? Unless you already know what the questions are, so you can have a canned answer ready. Yeah, this person, every time they've been asked about their policies on the economy, almost every time it is, well, let me start by saying this. I grew up in a middle-class family. I had a single mom, raised me and my sister. And I was, my mother worked hard and scrimped and saved. She was finally able to buy us a house when I was about 16. And we had nurses and teachers and I don't know, all powerful Oz, whoever, that lived in the neighborhood, and they really were proud of their lawns. Okay, what does any of that have to do with? And the main question that she gets asked is, are you better off today than people better off today than they were 4 years ago? And then she goes into this long diatribe, takes 2 or 3 minutes. She says nothing, and she never says yes or no. It's because she can't, because she knows the answer is no, and we can't say that. So you just make up a bunch of crap, and you just keep spreading the manure and hoping flowers bloom. Not that I am a personal fan of the other guy. I think he is proven that he would make a better president. And I tell people that are like on the fence, I'm like, you have to remember, all right, you know what you got, and then you know what came after that. And now what you had back then is wanting to come back again. So are you trying to pick a friend, or are you trying to pick the person that will do the best job and put your family in the best place? You have to, break it down like that. It's kind of like if you cut all the zeros off the budget and the debt and all that kind of stuff, and you start dealing with numbers that would more approximate your household. And you would look at those numbers, and you're like, there's no way that my family could operate like that. Yeah, because eventually you run out of credit cards. But they have the printing presses, and they just keep printing it. Inflation. Something else is going on out there. And I know I've probably screwed this proposition number up, but out in the land of fruit and nuts there out in California, they have a proposition on this year's ballot that is going to reclassify a whole bunch of things that are currently felonies to misdemeanors. And that would allow them to, because of a proposition that they put through back when the one candidate was Attorney General, that was the first time that they did it. And they found out, oh, hey, we like this. We can make these people, we can make these misdemeanors, and we can just let these people go. So they're being a little more aggressive in what they're trying to make misdemeanors, where you wouldn't, basically, it may not necessarily be a misdemeanor, but you wouldn't go to prison. And like one of the things in the list, I think, is the how can I say this? The unwanted sexual contact of a person that is unconscious. That would not be subject to a prison term. Something doesn't sound right about that. What is it? Forrest Gump. I'm not a smart man, but that doesn't sound right. Just my musings over a wonderful Paradomo 10th anniversary champagne and Isle of Skye 12-year-old blended Scotch whiskey. We're getting close to the halfway mark. Not quite. We're almost there. And we're already 43 minutes in, almost 44. Yeah, y'all may end up having to listen to the finale on this one on the audio, because I have a feeling you're not going to want to stick around for an hour and a half. I ain't smoking it any faster. That does. I mean, it's just this Isle of Skye, it's blended. Like I said earlier, it's a blend of Speyside and Island whiskeys over in around, the Isle of Skye. And that possibly includes Talisker in the island ones. So you do get just kind of a little hint of smoke and peat, not much, not overbearing. There's one out there that has been like really popular. I won't say their name, but somebody bought me a bottle of it one time, and I ended up giving it away. I tried 1 ounce drink out of it, and I don't think I even drank all of it. It's pretty expensive, and everybody raves about it. I don't like it. It tastes like you have mixed up ashes from the fireplace in some just plain spirits. And so, yeah, it tastes like you're drinking ashes. I don't like that. That is not me. To each his own, but that is not me. I have actually, I mean, I've reviewed Talisker. I got another one in there too that's got quite a bit of smoke and peat to it. I can't remember which one it is right now though. Uh, and I'll review them, but those bottles, they don't they don't get empty very fast. Because I just, my palate does not adapt to those. I mean, I've been drinking scotch for 15 years, I guess, uh, that I can't drink. Like I tried Johnny Walker Black Label. It's too smoky and peaty for me. Didn't even try double black. Uh, but yeah, there is one over there though on the Islay Peninsula that that's where most of the real peaty, smoky scotches come from. And I did try one over there, Brooklotic, their Classic Laddie. Their Classic Laddie is actually a really good scotch. It's been so long since I've had it, I couldn't tell you exactly what the smoke and the peat is like in it, but I liked it. So, uh, but they have other offerings that are supposed to be very smoky and very peaty, and so I don't even try them. I do need to get another bottle of Brooklotic Classic Laddie and try and pair that with something. I haven't done that. I've never paired that one. And the Classic Latte is in a very distinctive bottle. It is baby blue, top to bottom. Can't miss it on the shelf. You can be at the other end of the aisle and you're like, I see it down there. It's the only one they have that is the only one I've ever seen that has a baby blue or sky blue or whatever, pale blue, whatever you want to call it, bottle. And it's really good scotch. But it's also in the $50 to $100 bracket, where the Isle of Skye here is in the under $50 bracket. So it's all relative. Depends on how much you want to spend. You gotta have a little. It is still 95 here in Texas. I'm not lying about that. I think I can safely bring in the folks here. Let's get about a halfway mark update. Hey, I did that right, so I got you back. We are about the halfway mark, halfway point mark, whatever. Me and the folks here on the live stream I've just been regaling them all with stories that you need to hear. You need to be on the live stream. But the this this pairing, the Isle of Skye 12-year-old Scotch and the Perdomo 10th anniversary edition, they are still going together very well. The cigar has kind of transitioned a little bit. I'm getting some more like buttery hints of nut, like a cashew, maybe an almond. And then there were baking spices in the beginning, but that seems to be more strictly a cinnamon now. Um, and maybe even some kind of like buttered toast. So, um, yeah, it has gotten, while it's still got those sweetie notes to it, it's gotten a little more creamy notes to it too, like a butter or, uh, cashew butter, whatever. Um, cashews, they're like deadly until they roast them. It's like those people that pick them and do all the stuff, whatever it is they do to them. They like have to wear gloves because it causes their hands to break out. It's yeah. I need to go research that sometime. That's one of those things when I'm sitting watching TV and only halfway paying attention, I can Google. So, but anyway, the sky is blending very well with the stick, and I think it's going to continue from what I've seen so far. The Isle of Skye is a really good, it's a really good budget scotch. Um, it's not going to be, not going to be up there with the Macallans or the Glenlivets or, whatever. But it is a really good scotch. And it's one of these that you could put in your decanter and give it to people. They probably wouldn't even know the difference. Not that I do that. No, I don't do that. That's kind of like Ron White. And he's like, people often ask me what's in my decanter. And he says, uh, it's the kind of scotch that is for the person that's going to die penniless, which it turns out is famous grouse. So yeah, but this scotch has a really good mouthfeel to it. The stick has kind of toned down the smoke and the peat, which was not very much to begin with. Kind of softened it just a little bit, and they are really going well together. I'm really impressed. I mean, I had never tried this Isle of Skye before, and this is their base offering, 12-year-old, and I think it's really good. Uh, I'm surprised, really am. So, but me and the folks on the live stream are going to go ahead and burn this down to the band, and then we'll come back and give you audio folks our final thoughts. All right, I did my news broadcast, and now I can sit back and wait. Before I started this live streaming stuff, this is exactly what I would do. I would start, give them my initial thoughts, and then I'd pause it. And I'd smoke it down to about the halfway mark. I'd come back, give them my thoughts, put it on pause, smoke the rest of it, come back, give them my final opinion. Yeah, but I'm like, hell, all these people live streaming. Maybe I should try that. But I need people on here with me. I'm much funnier when I have people to bounce off of. Just like even blind squirrels will find a nut every now and again. Uh, I'll say something that's kind of funny, but if I have people to bounce off of me, but I'm not there yet. I don't know enough people in the industry. There was one guy. He doesn't do pairings. He does strictly cigars, and he's been he's been doing it for a long time. And I would make comments on his stuff. I'd send him messages, and he would never reply. And I was like, all right, I don't need you either. So most of the folks though are very friendly. We're cigar smokers, whiskey drinkers. We're friendly folks. There's still something on that retro inhale that I just can't quite pick up. I can tell it's there, but I can't quite pick it up. It's weird. It's one of those things where you're like, I know what this is, but I'm kind of starting to show my age, and my memory is now. If you want '80s music lyrics, I can sing word for word, but to try and remember what is on the retro inhale that I just can't quite remember now, that stuff's lost. So that's all that Iraq stuff. Because I started smoking cigars while I was in Iraq, and uh, they told me when I was diagnosed with PTSD that yeah, you got short-term memory problems. I'm like, well, okay, I probably wouldn't remember that, but I think I can understand where you're coming from. And they said, so uh, stuff that's kind of ingrained that you've known for a long time, you're not gonna have a problem with. It's the stuff that's new information. Like you tell me somebody's name, you'll have to tell me their name like 10 or 15 times before I'll get it. And then I have tinnitus, so I don't hear very well. I'm supposed to wear a hearing aid, but I don't, because I think at my age, unless I was born with a defect, I shouldn't be wearing a hearing aid unless I'm, 70. This is a, this is, like I said, all through this is a really good cigar, but the Churchill, that's stepping off into a different class right there. Speaking of Churchills, I may have to watch that movie tonight. If you hadn't seen it, uh, you need to watch it. Gary Oldman plays Churchill, and it's a war movie, but there's not a lot of war in it. It's all about Churchill and his his workings there when he was prime minister, when he was made prime minister, and how he handled things afterward. Because you don't really realize in the history books, because they all talk about what a great leader Churchill was, and all that kind of stuff. Everybody adored him. Well, not until after the war was over. He was fairly despised, especially among the government ruling class folks. Uh, and there were people that they're like, oh, we're going to quit the government, like the elected people, and walk out and boycott if we don't do something about him. But he navigated them through it. I don't know if this is true. It was in the movie. So I think if they're trying to have an accurate depiction of him, this would be true. But he's on a call with Franklin Roosevelt, the U.S. president at the time, and he's asking, "Are we going to be able to count on you for these things that you said you'll do?" And he's like, "Well, I just don't think that I'm going to be able to help right now. And things are tough here, and I really have to navigate the waters." And then Churchill says, "Well, what about the planes that you'd already told us you were going to give us?" And he said, "Can we come get those?" And you're like, "Well, um, I tell you what, we'll fly them to somewhere near the Canadian border, because Canada is still today part of the crown. We'll fly them. We'll take them up to this area near the Canadian border. And if you want to bring some teams of horses across and haul them back into Canada." I thought that was really funny. Like, you couldn't get away with that today. No, the press would be there. And they'd be asking questions. Yeah. Unfortunately, the press of today screws up most things. And it's because uh, they're less interested in journalism than they are in telling you what you should believe on a story. They're basically telling you their opinion, and you need to believe it. It's like when I was in Iraq, I was I remember checking a pallet that was going on a plane. It was a big, huge metal case, heavy as it could be, but it wasn't all that big. It was like a steamer trunk, 2, 3 feet long and a couple of feet high and a couple of feet deep. And it had these big warning labels on it that said, "Caution, VX gas." Uh, VX gas is, if you've never heard of it, it is a chemical agent that will kill you. And one tiny drop that you can get basically like on the head of a pin is enough to kill 10,000 people in the air. Uh, and it was just about that time that the New York Times came out and said that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and this is all a hoax, and Bush's war, and all that kind of stuff. And then that was in like 2004 and maybe 2005. But then in 2012, they issued a retraction, kind of. They said there were actually weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. But when they originally wrote that there weren't any, I was on front page, top half of the page, big bold letters, and the retraction was buried in like A27, down, way down in the corner, and basically said, "Yeah, we screwed up. We told you a lie." So, I think the burn has picked up a little bit on it. I mean, I could be smoking a little bit fast, but I'm trying not to because it is such a longer stick. It's 1 to 2 inches longer than what I normally smoke. And yeah, I don't like that nauseous feeling after you smoke one too fast. I try to stay away from that. Because I have done it before, a few times, and I try not to do that. And if you're smoking it too fast, then are you really getting to enjoy it? And that's the thing about cigar smoking. Cigar smoking is an event. If you're smoking cigarettes, it's a nervous habit. You need the nicotine. You need uh, like the people that we would, when I was in the Air Force, we'd run, do the PT test. We have to do a run, and after the run, all the smokers go run into the smoking areas. They had to fire them up a cigarette. Oh God, I'm not going to be able to get through the day. Cigar smokers are not like that. It is an event. You're doing something that is relaxing to you. Uh, while there is enough nicotine in the cigar to equal like a half a pack or a pack of cigarettes, still, that's not why you do it. Cigarette smokers they're addicted to it. I mean, that's why they have all this stuff out there to try and help you not be addicted to it, like the gum and the patches. Uh, the gum, it doesn't really, I wouldn't think it really works all that much. And the patches, you couldn't really, you tried chewing them things, and you can't get anywhere with that. Uh, but when you're a cigar smoker, I mean, I smoke one, two, maybe on a week where I have a lot of time, 3 cigars. Like when I go down to the Southern Command down on the Gulf Coast, Florida, uh, I take enough to have 1 cigar a day. I generally, even on vacation, will smoke one a day. Sometimes I will. But you're talking that 1 week out of the year, I may smoke 5 to 7 cigars. The rest of the time, I'm smoking one, maybe two. Partially because here in Texas, I mean, while we do have a very short fall and a very short spring, we have a whole lot of blazing ass hot, and we have some very cold enough you don't want to sit outside on the patio trying to smoke a cigar. So it's like patio season is a season here in Texas, and it doesn't last very long. There's about 6 or 8 weeks in the spring, and there's about 6 or maybe 8 weeks in the fall, and that it is enjoyed by all. Patio season in Dallas is awesome. And I feel obliged to say this, getting off track again. Uh, there was a little spot sticking up there that wasn't burning, so I took care of it. I've been hearing on the news a lot about uh, if the Donald gets elected, they're going to ban abortions in the United States. No, they're not. Well, how do you know they're not? Well, he's already been president once. He didn't do it. Yeah, but he got rid of Roe v. Wade. Well, he did. He did really exactly what should have been done, because this is something they always talk about. This is between a woman and her doctor. So you want to push this down to the lowest level that you can get, and that's the states. The enumerated powers are enumerated for a reason, because that's the only power that the states ceded to a centralized government. We're the only country that does that. So that means that it's a state issue. And they're like, yeah, but then the states will put a ban on. Well, the ones that are more conservative probably will. But just this last week, could have been the week before, but I think it was this last week, a judge in North Dakota. North Dakota had put in like a complete ban, and a judge ruled that that was unconstitutional. They couldn't do that. So this is how the process is going to work. They're going to say that it's not a federal issue anymore and take it to the states. And then some states will just be like, hey, we're going to march on like everything has been going. And some states are going to be like, all right, we're going to limit this. We're going to whatever. And then they'll have to work through the courts, and eventually there will be criteria that states will have to follow so that they can meet everybody's, they can service everyone's constitutional rights. But that also means just like gun owners can't generally own a machine gun, women may not have a complete and universal uh, privilege to do what they want, no matter what. Uh, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not my issue. I don't care. If they want to, if they want it to, everybody to be able to have one, that's fine. If they want to have ones that are restricted, that's fine. I don't care. Uh, but looking at the law, reading the Constitution, looking at the cases, it should not be a federal issue. It should be an issue for the states. And then a lot of it will have to get hashed out in court cases. And then everybody will move forward. We have to stop with all the skies falling stuff. Because the sky is not falling. Y'all still there? Remember, I can't see where this is being live streamed. I can only see where it's on restream. So I can't see if you're making comments, if you're telling me I'm a jackass, whatever. But I love comments. So even if you want to tell me I'm a jackass, that's fine. I am not woke. Your opinion is just that, your opinion. Just like, it's like all of this stuff that I have given you, all of these insights. You could smoke this cigar, drink this scotch, and be like, I didn't see any of that. That's kind of the way it goes. I did read here the other day that this week there is a new, oh God, there's a new virus. Oh, oh, sure. I hope we don't go back to the lockdowns. So far, I think it's like monkeypox, and I'm like, well, just keep people away from the monkeys. If people ain't around monkeys, then that would be all right. But yeah, it's like starting to run rampant in parts of Africa. Like, well, make sure they don't get on a plane and fly anywhere. Because part of this inflation is because of COVID. How is it because of COVID? Because the government gave out a whole bunch of checks. And yes, that was under the Donald's administration. And I said at the time, I'll cash my check just like everybody else does, but this is going to lead to inflation. And it did. The problem is that the federal government, and government in general for that matter, but we're specifically talking about the federal government. The federal government doesn't produce a product or provide a service that they charge money for. All the money that they spend comes from the taxpayers, and they spend a whole lot more than they collect. So they just keep printing dollars so that they can keep spending money. What I wish I could do. I'd love to have a money tree here in the backyard that I probably wouldn't be able to get to live here in Texas, but it would probably be a winter loving variety or something. But yeah, you just can't keep printing money and expect the value of that money to be high because you keep printing more of it. And certain people don't understand that. They think the obvious thing is that the rich are not paying their fair share. And if the rich would just pay their fair share, everything be all right. No, it wouldn't. Well, I'm almost out of scotch, so we're getting real close to the end here. I'm glad y'all have hung in with me. Not as many people as there was last week, but that's just kind of the way it goes. Let's go ahead and bring the folks in so I can wind this up and let y'all have your rest of your day back. Hey, stoners, I am back. We are getting really, really close here to burning this down to the band, and our glass is empty even after I filled it up again. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this one and say we're done for the day because I don't think I'm gonna get anything different than what I've already gotten here. And in the stick, as we went along, I kind of picked up some notes of caramel, and that sweetness is kind of hung in there. Uh, I know I mentioned at the halfway mark, kind of the cashews and almonds. Well, I think by the time we were getting down towards the end of the stick, it was really more of an almond, which is not quite as creamy as a cashew, which was kind of at the midpoint. And then there's also just a little bit of orange zest, and it could be the orange zest, the people that's on the live stream. It could be the orange zest that I kept telling you there's something in the retro inhale that I couldn't quite pick up. That could be it. Um, the scotch was really good for a $30 scotch. It was really good. Uh, you know, I mean, it's. I mean, I wouldn't pick it over Johnny Walker 15, but I would pick it over any of the other lower level Johnny Walkers, uh, which, you're talking red, black, and double black. And then I think there was some Game of Thrones stuff in there somewhere, but I didn't even keep up with that. Um, but it's a really good blended scotch. If you like blended scotch or you want to try something a little different than the single malts, step out there and give it a shot. I mean, for $30, you can't really complain too much. It's 12-year-old scotch, right? And it is rumored to have Talisker in it, which Talisker is not a $30 scotch, and it is a single malt. So the stick, this Perdomo is a really great stick. As I said at the beginning of the show, or even I think several times throughout the show, that it's not. I'm not a real Connecticut leaf wrapper fan, but I've been getting more into them because I have to give everybody something, you know. And I try to, people that are just getting into the scotch and or whiskey and cigar kind of thing. I have to try and give them something because you don't want to just jump out there with an Oscuro leaf, which is almost black. Uh, yeah, you want to kind of start with the training wheels, and that would be more of a Connecticut wrapper, like this one. Uh, I'd give the stick, a 90. It probably scored higher than that, but yeah, I'd give it a 90. Uh, the Isle of Skye 12-year-old Scotch, I would give it an 85 out of 100. Um, I've had things that were like really bad. There's even been one bottle in since this show's been going on that I did actually pour out, and this is definitely not down there. Uh, it is a it is just a very good serviceable 12-year-old Scotch. And if you want to pay $30 or less for a 12-year-old as opposed to 45 or 50 or maybe even 60 or 70, um, this is a good way to do it, I think. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I hope you hit like, subscribe, share, notify, tell all your friends about it. Because I think last week I had like double-digit people watching, which was awesome. That was the best show I'd ever had as far as people. And I didn't really think it was that great of a show. It was a good show, but it wasn't like fantastic. And since I'm very bad about not announcing them, it just so happened things lined up and a lot of people were listening. So anyway, tell everybody about it. I actually had a segue. I have an Amazon store that has Sticks-n-Stones gear. Somebody last month, or several somebodies, ordered 7 Sticks-n-Stone shirts, T-shirts with Sticks-n-Stones on the front, and the back of it was a soldier in desert camo with the Bible verse in Joshua about who will go and who can I send, and it's send me. And yeah, somebody ordered 7 of those, and I was really happy. That's like the most number of shirts I've sold in a month. So go to the Amazon store and look for Sticks-n-Stones. You'll find it there, and I got some great stuff. I would love to see people around in Sticks-n-Stones gear. It would really it'd make my heart happy. So anyway, until we get to be together again, keep your sticks dry, your stones cold, and have a great day.